when longevity stops responding. At first, it feels confusing. You do everything right. You exercise. You eat well. You manage stress. And yet, the body stops improving. Progress stalls. Recovery no longer deepens. Aging continues, indifferent to effort. This moment is especially unsettling because it contradicts everything modern health culture promises. We are taught that consistency compounds, that better inputs inevitably lead to better outcomes. Optimize sleep, refine nutrition, dial in training, reduce stress, and the body is supposed to respond in kind. When those outcomes stop appearing, the instinct is to assume something is missing. More discipline, better tracking, tighter control. But the plateau does not respond to force. It resists it. Researchers began noticing this pattern in people deeply committed to longevity practices. These were not neglectful individuals. They tracked sleep meticulously, monitored biomarkers, refined nutrition, exercised intelligently, and avoided obvious harm. For years, their bodies responded as expected. Health improved. Resilience increased. Capacity expanded. Then, without clear warning, adaptation stopped. Biomarkers stabilized but refused to improve. Recovery hit a ceiling that effort could not push past. To understand why this moment matters, we need to look at how the body prioritizes resources over time. Longevity does not always decline from neglect. Sometimes, it declines from overload. And overload does not have to be dramatic to be effective. It only has to be persistent. Small demands, layered endlessly without true resolution, can be just as influential as acute stress. For years, the body adapts generously. It responds to better habits, improved inputs, reduce harm. Repair pathways activate. Systems regain flexibility. Tissues remodel. Hormonal rhythms sharpen. But adaptation has a condition. It assumes recovery will eventually be allowed to complete. When stress never truly resolves, when effort blends into next effort without a real endpoint, repair capacity saturates. At that point, biology makes a shift. It stops optimizing and starts conserving. The internal goal quietly changes from improvement to survival. Growth becomes optional. Stability becomes essential. The body does not announce this transition. It simply stops responding the way it used to. This is the moment longevity stops responding. Not because effort is wrong, but because the system no longer believes change is safe. The body has learned a pattern. Every gain is followed by more demand. Every improvement becomes a new baseline, not a resting place. Pressure does not end. It escalates. From a biological perspective, this is dangerous. Growth requires openness. Openness requires safety. When improvement feels like a prelude to further strain, the body begins to protect itself. So the body narrows flexibility to do exactly that. Researchers saw this shift clearly in physiological data. Stress responses flattened instead of cycling. Hormonal rhythms lost contrast. Repair pathways remained present but were rarely activated fully. Inflammation no longer resolved as cleanly. The system was not broken. It was guarded. It had entered a defensive posture designed to prevent further depletion. People experiencing this plateau often responded predictably. They tried harder. More exercise, stricter routines, cleaner diets, better schedules, more supplements, more protocols. But each addition added demand to a system already braced against it. What once signaled improvement now signaled escalation. The result was frustration. The harder they pushed, the less changed. Tools that once worked lost their effect. Longevity strategies that once produced gains now produce maintenance at best, exhaustion at worst. The plateau hardened. This was a critical insight. The problem was not effort. It was trust. The body no longer trusted that improvement would be allowed to settle. It expected that any gain would be followed by new pressure. And when improvement feels like a prelude to escalation, biology chooses restraint. Conservation becomes safer than adaptation. As researchers examined these plateaus more closely, they found a shared history, long periods of unresolved stress, lives that never fully powered down, recovery that was attempted but never completed. Rest existed, but it was provisional. conditional, temporary. Even rest days were framed as preparation for the next push. The body had adapted to that expectation. This reframed the plateau entirely. Longevity had not stopped responding. It had stopped believing. And restoring belief required something modern life rarely offers: proof that effort can end. The conflict sharpens because modern narratives teach the opposite. When progress stalls, we are told to push through. Plateau is framed as weakness, resistance as failure. Effort intensifies instead of easing. Discipline becomes a solution to everything. Biologically, this response backfires. Researchers observed that systems already in conservation mode reacted to added pressure by tightening further. Recovery shrank. Flexibility narrowed. Repair signals were suppressed. The plateau hardened into a new normal. A feedback loop formed. The body limited response to protect itself. The individual increased effort to overcome resistance. Longevity stalled not from lack of discipline, but from too much of it. This behavior made sense emotionally, but not biologically. Growth requires surplus. It requires space. It requires an environment where resources are not immediately reclaimed by new demands. When every signal points to ongoing obligation, the body prioritizes caution. Survival takes precedence over adaptation. What broke this loop in some individuals was not a new protocol or intervention. It was a structural change. Periods where effort genuinely ended, where expectations dropped, where nothing needed to improve, where recovery was not framed as preparation, but as completion. When those conditions appeared, even briefly, the body responded. Sleep deepened. Inflammation eased. Hormonal rhythms regained contrast. Recovery capacity reopened. The plateau softened, sometimes dramatically. These changes did not require perfection. They required credibility. The body needed evidence that pressure would not immediately return, that effort would not escalate the moment improvement appeared, that recovery was real. This revealed the deeper conflict. Modern life teaches us to override resistance. Biology uses resistance as a warning signal. When systems pull back, it is often because they are protecting themselves from endless demand. The climax of this story is a realization that when longevity stops responding, it is not broken, it is guarded. The body withdraws not out of failure, but out of self-preservation. When improvement feels unsafe, biology chooses stability over growth. Aging continues, not because effort is absent, but because trust is gone. The resolution is not more optimization. It is reassurance. Lives that prove effort can end. That pressure will not endlessly escalate. That recovery is not just a pause before the next demand, but a genuine conclusion. Environments where adaptation is rewarded with rest, not replaced by new expectations. When the body receives that signal, it softens. Repair resumes. Flexibility returns. Longevity becomes responsive again, not through force, but through safety. Modern culture teaches us to overpower resistance. Biology teaches us to listen to it, because resistance often appears when systems are being asked to grow without being allowed to recover. In the end, longevity does not stall because we stop trying. It stalls because the body stops believing that trying is worth the cost. And once that belief is restored, time loosens its grip again.